All right, I know it's a cheap plug. I'm holding up my book, The Comeback, but I actually was writing this book before the Cavs won their title back in 2016, because part of it was, to me, it was a fascinating story, LeBron coming back, and I even went way back to when he left the first time in 2010, and what happened. And what happened was this. There was a sense of, well, what do we do next? In fact, that first year the Cavs lost a record 26 in a row. Now, what is the best path for the Cavaliers going forward? And I think this is a thing that Koby-Altman, the general manager, and Dan-Gilbert, the owner, and perhaps Tyronn Lue had some input. They began to think about this, I think, even last summer, because they knew that LeBron had a chance to opt out back in 2018, that summer coming up, and so they had a year. Because if you look at the trades they made at midseason especially, they brought in players who not only were younger, but at least were under contract for another year. Those three in particular being Larry Nance Jr., Jordan Clarkson. Rodney Hood is a restricted free agent, but the Cavs could match any offer he receives. Then they traded for the pick from the infamous Brooklyn pick, came via the Celtics, and took Colin Sexton, the point guard from Alabama. So basically, you're trying to get younger here, whether LeBron stayed or LeBron went. You know, they're saying the word to kind of say they're not interested in trading Kevin Love. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I would sit down with Kevin Love and just kind of say, okay, what do you want to do? Love is under contract for one more year. He has a player option for the seasons of 19 and 20. So in other words, he could opt out and become a free agent a year from now. So you want to say, Kevin, do you want to stay? Do you want to go? What are you interested in? See what the market is for Kevin Love. But what you're going to see now is actually the kind of team Tyronn Lue said he wanted to coach. I could think of two different interviews where Tyronn Lue mentioned, you know, it's hard sometimes coaching this veteran team because these guys are all set in their ways. And he twice used these phrases about, I'd like to have a young team to mold and to teach. Well, Ty, you've got one. And I think what you're going to find is it's going to be pretty hard. It might be sort of interesting for a while. Now, I will be fascinated to see what the approach is. No team is going to announce, gee, we're going to just lose all our games, tank, and everything else. You'll see what they do as time goes on. And the other difficult thing, I think, what you find is, you know, a lot of high lottery draft picks don't become impact players. But some do, you know, so you could find some. But in other words, I guess what I'm saying is this, you know, the Cavs are sort of venturing into a little bit of the unknown now. The last time they did it in 2010, it was very painful. They piled up a lot of draft picks and everything else. Now, all that stuff helped them when LeBron James came back because they were able to make trades, and that helped them, for example, to bring in Kevin Love. They traded Andrew Wiggins and the immortal Anthony Bennett for Kevin Love, and I hope that's the last time I mention Anthony Bennett for a while. And they were also able to use some draft picks their first year to bring in Timothy Mozgov, Iman Shumpert, and J.R. Smith, which sparked that team and helped that group get to the finals back in 2015. So that was all stuff they did while they were losing in those 4 years. But it was a very painful time, and my guess it's going to be painful again. I just hope that they have a plan in place so that at least the Cavaliers can be a contender for playoffs and that kind of thing within a couple of years.